Try the newest, cheapest, and fastest delivery na express service. Introducing Moto Express PH. You can now leave your shopping and delivery needs with us without much exposure and interaction to people outside. Mapa-grocery items, medicines, foods, and other essentials and halal-certified products, kami na ang mamimili at maghahatid sa'yo. Sinisigurado na ligtas, in good and quality condition ang mga pabili o orders sa delivery service na iyong i-avail. Para sa maayos at mabilis na delivery at order mo, ipamoto mo na. Download Moto Express PH app through Google Play that is built to deliver beyond your expectation. Tara na dito sa Moto Express. Dahil moto mo to.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, dear brothers and sisters in Islam. And good afternoon to our dear brothers and sisters in humanity. I am Elenida Jess of Cebu, and my co-host, Sister Mariam Kuder of Bacolod. Inshallah, we will be learning with you for this episode, dear Sister Khadijah, which is a regular program every Friday at 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. To give us some words of gratitude, let me call in Sister Mariam. Sister Mariam.
Bismillah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, everyone. Mayong hapon sa tanan. We are here again for another show of Dear Sister Khadijah. This is our regular show every Friday at 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. Before we start our program, allow me to thank you to our President, Mr. Ismail Abaya Murahaja, and to our Director, Zeno Martinez, Assistant Director Carl Vinras. And with me is Sister Elenida of Cebu. And to our viewers, please stay with us as we share another topic today. And don't forget to like and subscribe, and also click the notification below for more updates. And don't forget to share. We share another topic based on our opinion and for educational purposes, and it's substitute for a proper legal advice. For our legal advice, we have Attorney Nor Hernandez, our Sharia lawyer. Back to you, Sister Elenida.
Thank you, Sister Mariam. I would like to greet also, greetings of salam to my sisters, Sister Khadijah Padigoni, Sister Aisha Kazirin Kish, Sister Doc Anna Marcelita Shakil, my sisters also in Cebu, Sister Nurjana, Sister Nur Edding, and a lot more whom I could not mention, all of you. For our viewers, especially to our new viewers, we would like to give you some rationale or the rationale of having this program, the Dear Sister Khadijah. This is to educate the Muslim Filipinos, particularly the Balik Islam, on the provisions of our Civil Code of the Philippines, as well as the Code of Muslim Personal Laws of the Philippines and other related Islamic laws. Just like what Sister Maria mentioned earlier, that we are giving you our opinion only, and this are not does not mean to substitute any legal advice. For our dear brothers and sisters in Islam, as Muslims, we must be people of fairness. And to be one, we must always be aware and act according to Article 3, for example, of Republic Act number 386. Ignorance to the law excuses no one from compliance therewith. As well as in Article 19 of Republic Act number 386, every person must, in the exercise of his rights and in the performance of his duties, act with justice, give everyone his due, and observe honesty and good faith. Alhamdulillah, this episode we will be sharing with you the provisions on PD 1083, particularly on the succession and on the wills. I'm sure many of our Muslim brothers and sisters would like to know how are these to be met, what are the for example, the definitions, what are the requirements or prerequisites. So we will be tackling this, inshallah, for the duration of our time, and we hope that you stay with us and learn with us. Right, Sister Mariam?
Yes, sister. And we have interesting topic that we also know from our Sharia lawyer that we have to study this and we have to share this to our viewers and to our fellow Muslim brothers and sisters, Sister Elenita.
Yes, thank you, Sister Mariam. And for our viewers, if you would like to ask some questions, please write
Mm-mm.
your questions on the comment box. And if, for example, we could not give you the details, inshallah, we will be joined by our Sharia counselor, Norm Hernandez, and we would be
Mm-mm.
trying our best to give you our opinion.
Yes,
Sister
if we
Mariam,
cannot,
words
yes,
in
if we cannot, to our viewers, if we cannot answer it directly, we can read it after the show and we can reply it or we refer it to our attorney Noor Hernandez for a further reply, Sister Elenita.
Thank you for that intelligent response, Sister Mariam. Yes, we can reply
Mm-mm.
after our program, or that if we have enough time, we can also do some research or refer these questions to Sharia counselor Noor Hernandez. In our PD 1083, especially in Book 3, this the provision of succession. Title 1, General
Mm-mm.
Provisions. May I ask Sister Mariam, how do you compare and contrast succession and wills?
Okay, we defined it in Article 89. The definition of succession defined succession is a mode of acquisition by a virtue of which state of a person is transmitted to his heirs or others in accordance with this code. And in Article 1, stated will defined, a will wasiya is a declaration whereby a person is permitted with the formalities prescribed by law to control the disposition after his death, not more than one third of his estate if there are heirs or the whole of it. If there are no heirs or this distant kindred, Sister Elinida.
Sister Mariam, when is successional rights vested? Could you please read article number 90?
In Article 19, succession rights, yes, yes, in Article 90 stated successional rights when vested. The rights to succession or are transmitted from the moment of the death of the descendant. The right to successions of any heirs who precedes the descent shall not be transmitted by rights or a representation of its own heirs, Sister Elnida.
Sister Mariam, thank you for that. Article 90, to our dear viewers, successional rights when vested. The rights to succession are transmitted from the moment of the death of the decedent. The right to succession of any
Mhm.
heir who predeceases the decedent shall not be transmitted by right or representation to his own heirs. Now, Sister Mariam, what about the requisites of succession? Can you please mention
Um,
this requisite of succession?
in PD 1083, Article 91, requisite of
Yes.
succession, no settlement of the estate of deceased person shall be infected unless, in Section A, the death of descendant is ascertained.
What do we mean by death, Sister Mariam?
The death is actual death presentation or no life at all, Sister Elenida.
Yeah, thank you for that. Death means end of life of a person.
A end of life
In
of a
Muslim law
person.
of inheritance, it is of two kinds. The what are these two kinds of death, Sister Mariam, as described in Muslim law of
Actually,
inheritance?
there are two kinds of death: the actual death and the presumption presumptive, I'm sorry, presumptive death. In actual death,
Okay.
okay, in actual death, when there is a certainly the proof that the person had already died. For example, anong proof ng person na he is already died? Of course, we need have a doctor certificate that he is already stated that he is already died, or can prove with the death certificate. While presumptive death is when a person presumed death after an absence of several years by decree of a court. Sister
Can
Elinida.
you give us, Sister Mariam, the two kinds of presumptive death?
The presumptive death are the two kinds, namely, the ordinary and the extraordinary. O, di ba? Parang batchoy lang, no? May ordinary at saka extraordinary. Okay, and the section 1 stated ordinary presumptive death if the circumstances surrounding in the disappearance of the person is ordinary. This kind of missing person can only be presumed dead by decree of the court after lapses of 10 years. Example, the migration of a person. In section B, the extraordinary presumptive death, if the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of the person is dangerous, this kind of missing person can be presumed dead by the court after the lapses of 4 years. Kasama na rito
Uh-huh.
ang mga sundalo, Navy, yung nasa kalawakan, example, if there is, what do you call it, Sister Elinida, parang normal tragedy that happen, like earthquake, tsunami, and another calamities.
Okay, thank you, Sister Mariam. Our dear viewers, Sister Mariam has read to us the two kinds of presumptive deaths, and these are the ordinary presumptive death if the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of the person is ordinary. This kind of missing person can only be presumed dead by decree of court after the lapse of 10 years. Take note on that. And on the second example or the second kind of presumptive death is called extraordinary presumptive death. If the circumstances surrounding the disappearance of a person is dangerous, this kind of missing person can be presumed dead. Of course, Sister Maria mentioned earlier, and what are these circumstances? She mentioned about earthquake, tsunami, and others. Now let's talk about what are the related articles, Sister Mariam, that we can say that there is really the extinction of personality. Could you please read to our viewers Article
Uh,
11?
I would like also to emphasize this extraordinary presumptive death to
Yes,
our
please.
viewers, Sister Elinida, that for example, in the cases of for example, seafarers, if the seafarers having on the sea and may nangyari na earthquake or talagang may tsunami at talagang nawala sila at hindi na nakita for 4 years, the wife must be presumed that his husband is already died kasi may nangyari doon na hindi natin nalalaman kung saan na patungo yung pag-search or ganyan. And in the case sa mga sundalo, pinadala sila for the war, like that, at hindi rin sila nakita, we presume it that our loved ones was is already in the presumptive death, Sister Elinida. In Article 11,
Yes,
in the
please.
civil extension of personality in Article 11, civil personality extinguished by death, the effect of death upon the rights and the obligation of the deceased person is determined by this code, by contract, and by will. And the section 2, after the absence of 7 years is being unknown whether or not the absence still lives, he shall be presumed dead. And Article 12, simultaneous death, it as between two or more persons who are called succeed each other, there is a doubt as to which of them died first. Whoever
Okay.
alleged the death of one prior to the other shall prove the same. In the absence of such proof, it is it is presumed that they have died at the same time and shall be no transmission of rights from other to the other. However, the successional rights of the other is respective heirs shall not be affected.
Uh-huh. What about
In what
this?
in
Yes,
in
please.
107, because of the operation of law, bequest or by operation of law, should the testator die without having made a bequest in favor of any child on his son who predeceased him or who stimulously died with him, such shall be entitled to one third of the share of that have pertained to the father if we were alive. The parent or spouse who is otherwise disqualified to inherit in the view of Article 93 shall entitled to have one third of what he or she would have received without such a qualification.
Mm-hmm. And Sister Mariam, again, could you please state the what death means?
The death, Sister Elenida, means the end of a life of a person. Death is the end of a life of a person, Sister Elenida.
Okay, thank you.
Katapusan
So,
ng
Sister,
buhay niya. That is we already that's what we call death. Walang buhay na. Wala
uh,
wala nang buhay.
okay, thank you for that, Sister Mariam. So, we have here also actual death when there is certainty and proof that the person had already died.
Already.
Of course,
Okay.
this can be showed with death certificate.
Mm-mm.
And then, what about Sister Mariam? This who are the? Can you please read, Sister Mariam, about who are the who qualifies for this? Who are the successor?
In Article 93, Sister Elenida, disqualification
Yes,
of
please.
succession. Okay. In
No, no,
Article
no.
93, the
Before
inheritance.
93. Before 93.
The
Who?
inheritance. Who can be the inherit? Okay. In Article
Yes, please.
93, inheritance or mirath, the inheritance of a person includes all properties or any kind, movable or immovable, whether ancestral or acquired either by the onerimus or gratitude title, as well as transmittable rights and obligation at the time of his death, and those that occur there to or before partition, Sister Elenida. Inheritance, may having a property na kailangan i-subdivide kung sinong heirs na makatanggap, either movable or immovable. Either for example, for the movable, Sister Elenida, yung pwedeng ma-move like mga furnitures, jewelries, and any anti-craft na makita mo sa loob. And then the immovable, hindi pwede matanggal in a one places. Like ancestral, yung mga ganyan.
And then, Sister Mariam, when the heir is considered as disqualified, please read
In
Article
Article
93.
93, the disqualification to success, the following shall be disqualified to succeed. In Section A, those who have intentionally caused directly or indirectly the death of the decedent. And the Section B, those who have committed any other act while constitute a ground disqualification on inherit under the Islamic law. And the C, those who are so suited that they cannot inherit under Islamic law.
And then can you proceed to number 94, Article 94, please? Succession
In
from
Article
acknowledging person.
in Article 94, I would like to emphasize this though in Section B in 93, the disqualification, yung unworthy pa na bigyan siya ng inherit. Like for example, if he or she involved with the drugs cases or immorality, infidelity, that is not a, I mean, he is not qualified to be inherit from the descendant person, Sister Elinida.
Thank you for that clarification, Sister Mariam. So in this Article 93, disqualifications to succession, the following shall be disqualified to succeed. As mentioned by Sister
Mm-mm.
Mariam in paragraph A, those who have intentionally caused directly or indirectly the death of the decedent.
Mm-mm.
Section B or paragraph B, those who have committed any other act which constitutes a ground disqualification to inherit under Islamic law. And
And
lastly, on paragraph C, those who are situated that they cannot inherit under Islamic law. What about
yes, Sister
succession?
Elinida,
Yes.
this one in nakita ko dito in the section A, those who have intentionally caused directly or indirectly the death of decedent. For example, binalak niya patayin yung decedent, Sister Elinida. Kasi binalak niya patayin kasi gusto niya inisip niya na may makuha siya na or mapasa kanya yung mga properties ng ng kanyang mga magulang, Sister Elinida, that is intentionally caused direct or indirect death. Kasi may nakita siya na, patayin ko na lang to kasi sa akin naman to mapupunta lahat. If the court see it na maganon, he is disqualified for the inheritance, Sister Elinida. And also in the section B stated, pag involved siya sa mga drug cases, immorality, and infidelity, mga prodigality, ganyan, ay sigurado disqualified na siya for the inheritance, Sister Elinida. And
Yes,
section
thank you.
94,
Yes.
yes, and section 94, succession from acknowledging person without prejudice to order of succession of heirs, mutual right, or inheritance shall obtain. For our viewers, yung sinishare namin dito is succession and by patungo tayo sa will and testament for our viewers. And in the section A of Article 94, between the acknowledging father and the acknowledging child. And section B, between the kinsman acknowledged through another person and the acknowledger.
Sister Mariam, can you please elaborate paragraph A of Article 94, this between the acknowledging father and the acknowledging child? Can you cite an
Mm-mm.
instant or a situation by which that fits to this paragraph A of Article 94?
Yes. For example, acknowledging by the father, ipinapakilala niya, ito si Sean, anak ko. Or in a publicly. Kasi minsan may not stated that they are having a birth certificate pero pinapakilala ya in publicly. Not only in the birth certificate but in publicly. They're introducing that I have a son, I have a daughter, this is Sean, this is Maria, like that. That is one example of acknowledging of a father to a child, not only stated in the birth certificate that we have.
Thank you for that example, Sister Mariam. What about succession by illegitimate child?
In Article 95, succession by illegitimate child, a child who has cause of a mother having been divorced by li'an, shall have the mutual rights of succession only with the mother and her relatives. For example, Sister Nilda, I will give another example of this.
Yes, please.
For example, to our viewers, me and my husband was already divorced, and I have I have no child for my husband, and I already divorced, and I have already acquired another marriage, and I have I have a son. So, hindi siya pwede mabigyan ng inherits or else, yung first husband ko na may inherit ako doon ko lang siya kukunin sa share ko yung anak ko sa second. So, he's not belong on the first husband because it was already divorced, but I can share to him my whatever I have to my son, Sister Elenida. That is one
And
of
yes, and
the
your son can inherit not
mm,
only from your estate, but as well as your relatives' estate,
mm,
right?
yes,
Okay,
yes,
what
Sister
about
Elenida.
succession between divorced persons?
Article 96, succession between divorced persons. Section 1, the husband who divorced his wife shall have mutual rights of inherit with her while she is observing her Ida. After expiration of Ida, there shall be no mutual rights of succession between them. In the section 2, the husband who will condition of death illness divorce his wife shall not inherit from her, but she shall have the rights to succeed him even after expiration of Ida.
Okay, thank you, Sister Mariam. Again, to our dear viewers, Article 96 states succession between divorced persons.
Mm-mm.
Paragraph 1. The husband who divorces his wife shall have mutual rights of inheritance with her while she is observing her Ida. After the expiration
Mhm.
of the Ida, there shall be no mutual rights of succession between them. In paragraph 2, the husband who, while in a condition of death, illness, divorces his wife shall not inherit from her, but she shall have the right to succeed him even after the operation of her Ida. And let's
Mm-mm.
come to Article 97. Please read, Sister Maria.
Okay. In Article 97, succession by con, conceived child. Succession by conceived child. A child conceived at the time of death of the decedent shall be considered an heirs provided it be born or later in accordance with Article 10. Its corresponding share shall be reserved before the state distributed.
Mhm. Sister Mariam, of course, there are cases, for example, that a son or a
And
daughter
in
or
Article 98, the succession.
yeah, for example, the one of the children is an absentee. What is the rule
Mhm.
on succession on this as stated in PD 1083? Kindly read Article 98.
In Article, yes, Sister Ninida. In Article 98, succession by absentee, yeah, the share of an heir who is missing or otherwise at the time of death of the decedent shall be reserved. In Section A, until the paragraph, no, paragraph A, until, no, in the Section A, until the reappears and claims, and then Section B, until he is proven dead, and this Section C is until the lapse of 10 years, after which he shall be resumed dead by decree of the court. That is in Article 98, Sister Elenita. Number in the Section A, until he reappears and claim, or until he is proven dead, until the lapses of 10 years, after which he shall be resumed dead by a decree of the court, Sister Elenita.
Okay, so Article 98, succession by absentee. So this is the share of an heir who is missing or otherwise at the time of death of the decedent shall be reserved. Paragraph A, until he reappears and claims it. Paragraph B, until he is proven dead, or C, until the lapse of 10 years, after which he shall be presumed dead by decree of the court. Thank you, Sister Mariam. What about Sister Mariam, Article 99?
In Article 99, Order of Succession, the heirs of decedent shall inherit in the following order. Shares shall be entitled to fixed shares.
Uh-huh.
Residuaries shall be entitled to residue. In the absence of the foregoing, the distant kindred who are blood related but are neither sharer, not residuaries. D. In default of the above, the acknowledged kinsman, universal legatee, or the public treasury in that order.
Okay. Our dear viewers, in PD 1083, Article 99, it's very clear that there is really an order of succession. And we could not just say that this is how it should be done, but there is an order of which the heirs of a decedent shall inherit in the following order. As mentioned by Sister Mariam, in paragraph A, the sharers or ashab or furud shall be entitled to fixed shares. There is what we call a table for these fixed shares that are mentioned here. But of course, we'll not be discussing this time. In paragraph B, residuaries. Residuaries by which, again, Sister Mariam, what do we mean by residuaries? These are the excess, right?
Necessarily needed.
Yeah, okay. Paragraph B, residuaries as all mirad shall be entitled to the residue. Paragraph C, in the absence of the foregoing, that means what are in paragraph A and B, the distant kindred, thou all arham, who are blood relatives, but are neither sharers nor residuaries. And in paragraph D, in default of the above, the acknowledged kinsman, universal legatee, or the public treasury by all mal in that order. Okay, so in this we are sharing with you some articles that are related to succession. What about Sister Mariam? What are these modes of succession? How can this be passed from the testator to the rightful heirs?
Yes, I will read here in you
Please
stated
read.
here
This is on Article 100. In Article 100, modes of succession. Succession may be A, by will or wasiya, B, by operation of this code, or C, by combination or both. Okay, to our brothers and sisters in Islam and our dear
read.
viewers, so far we have shared with you the articles that are in the succession which are described in PD 1083. And also,
And
um,
also, Sister Elinida, in Article 100, the mode of succession is succession
yes,
may
please.
be, and not we did not say it that there is a three uh, mode of succession. It's number one is by will or wasiya, by operation of this code, or by combination of both. That is all, Sister Elinida.
Okay, this PD 1083, particular in succession, there is also the related article on civil code, that is on Article 774. I would like to share with you this Article 774 in our Civil Code of the Philippines. Succession is a mode of acquisition by virtue of which the property, rights, and obligations to the extent of the value of the inheritance of a person are transmitted through his death to another or others either by his will or by operation of law. Sister Mariam, is there also a an ayah or a surah in our Quran that okay, this one. So our dear viewers, I have read to
Yes,
you
just
the
read it.
Civil Code Article 774. Now we have tackled these articles 89, 101, Article 90, 91. You may review this. Of course, PD 1083 is available online. You can download this and you may take note on what articles that we have been discussing here. So for your review, you can check on Article 11 also, number 12, as well as 107, which are um, in relation to the the topic that we are discussing here on the succession. Before we move on to our next lesson or discussion or topic, Sister Mariam, why not invite our dear viewers to your product? That is the Mariam Bananas.
To our viewers, I have a product to introduce to all of us. This product is belong to halal, and this is so very delicious. But I have one left na lang, Sister Elinida. The one left, this is already reserved now out of 100 canister.
Wow.
The, the, this one is a new packaging that I have, and this is already sealed. This banana chips stick is produced in a natural way of plantation. We prepare it from start from the land preparation until we harvest it and until we prepare it in our kitchen. This is so nutritious and very affordable for for all of us, and this is good for our children.
As well as to the health conscious individual, Sister Mariam, that is best for them. Yeah, thank you for sharing your product, Sister Mariam. But of course, to our sisters, especially in our advocacy on ending the violence against Muslim women and their children, we encourage you to take part in this, shall we say, the small scale business that we have started. And of course, you can have your order from Sister Mariam. And if, for example, you want to
We have
be reseller, just contact Sister Mariam for her products. And take note, those are halal products. And
we
of
have
course, we have,
some
yes.
internet problem.
Well, that's okay, Sister Mariam. What about Sister Mariam? Let's proceed on to our next discussion. This is titled to the testamentary succession, which is we shall be focusing on chapter 1, Sister Mariam. And
Yeah,
this
I am
chapter
talking
1,
that I am waiting for the connection. I think that there is a problem with our with my internet, Sister Elinida. I informed it to you that maybe I lost or maybe I cannot return, but Alhamdulillah. Okay, we return now
Alhamdulillah,
to our topic,
your
Sister
internet
Elinida.
connection, Alhamdulillah, is
Yes, yes. Oh.
doing well.
Mm-mm.
And we will be discussing, Sister Mariam, the next topic. Of course, in our previous
Okay.
discussion, we talk about succession, right? On
Mm-hmm.
this next segment, we will be tackling on the wills. This is on our PD 1083, in which
Mm-mm.
Title 2, Testamentary Succession. This is found in Chapter 1. Sister Mariam, uh, how is will defined in PD 1083?
The wills defined in Article 101 A will wasiya is a declaration whereby a person is permitted with formalities prescribed by law to control the disposition after his death or not more than one third of his estate if there are heirs or the whole of it. If there are no heirs, the or this distance uh, can avail, Sister Elenida. And that is 101.
I think this is the most awaited part by our Muslim brothers and sisters. Sister
Mm-mm.
Mariam, particularly, most of us don't know how to formulate wills. And of
Mm-mm.
course, we can advise, in our opinion, that they can use or they can seek the assistance or the service of a Sharia counselor with regards to their will. Of course,
Mm-mm. And
there is,
this will
yes,
is
please.
and this will also stated in our Republic Act, Sister Elenida, in the Civil Code of the Philippines. In Article
Mhm.
183, there are stated not only we as a Muslim we have the last will or will of testament, but of course in our Republic Act in the Civil Code there are also stated in 700 Article 783 Civil Code of the Philippines. I will read this. A will is an act whereby a person is permitted with the formalities prescribed by law to control to a certain degree of the disposition of his estate to take effect after his death. That is uh, that is the will, and the will it
Okay.
must be written of a
Okay,
person
thank
or the
you. Thank you
decedent.
for that, Sister Mariam. Is there any Quranic basis on these provisions on will, Sister Mariam?
Yes, Sister Elenida, and you can read it in our Quran, Sister Elenida.
Okay, this Quranic verse is also, this is on Surah Al-Baqarah, that is
Mm-hmm.
chapter 2 in our holy book, the Quran. And it's
Mm-hmm.
on Ayah 180 or verse 180, which reads, "It is prescribed for you when death approaches any of you, if he leaves wealth, that he makes a bequest to parents and next of kin according to reasonable matters. This is a duty upon al-mutakon or the pious." And what do we mean by this al-mutakon? Can you give the definition, or can you cite some anaya in the Quran, for example, Sister Mariam, with this
Yes,
al-mutakon?
yes, in verse 2 of this book, the Quran, wherefore there is no doubt a guidance to those who are al-mutakun, pious believer or Islamic monotheism, who fear Allah much. Abstain from all kinds of sins and evil deeds which He has forbidden and love Allah much. Perform all kinds of good deeds which He has ordained.
So, Sister Mariam, as we can see that um, these provisions on PD 1083, particularly on the will, it is based in our holy book, the Quran. As we
Mhm.
have read earlier, it is found in Surah Al-Baqarah, or that is in chapter 2, verse 180. And then Sister Mariam read to us the definition of al-mutakun. Who are these al-mutakun? I hope I have read, say it right. The al-mutakun is described clearly in Surah Al-Baqarah. This is in ayah number 2 or verse number 2. This is the book referring to the Quran, wherefore there is no doubt a guidance to those who are al-muttaqun, pious believers of Islamic monotheism, who fear Allah much, abstain from all kinds of sins and evil deeds which He has forbidden, and love Allah much, perform all kinds of good deeds which He has ordained. What about, is there any provision in the Civil Code, Sister Mariam, in the Civil Code of the Philippines that we can read about will?
Yes, I am so excited to read it, but not only in our PD 1083 and in stated in our Book of Quran, and we have also in the article of Republic Act of a Civil Code of the Philippines in Article
Indeed.
783, Sister Linida. As I read earlier, a will is an act whereby a person is permitted, with the formalities prescribed by law, to control to a certain degree the disposition of his estate to take effect after his death. So this provision, Sister Elinida, will take effect after the death of a person. Pwede, hindi natin pwede makuha kung ano yung mga inheritance natin if buhay pa, of course, Sister Elinida.
And could you please discuss what are these formalities of will, Sister Mariam?
Yeah, in PD 1083, Article 102, the formalities. The formalities and paragraph 1, the making of will strictly a person act. It cannot be left in a whole or in a part of the discretion of a third person or accomplished through the instromentality of the estate or executed in the presence of at least two competent, credible, and this interested witnesses.
Okay, I will read to you, our dear viewers, what are these in Article 102, the formalities. Paragraph 1. The making of a will is strictly a personal act. It cannot be left in a whole or in part to the discretion of a third person or accomplished through the instrumentalities of an agent. In paragraph 2, a will may be declared orally or in writing in a manner that shows clearly the intention of the testator to execute it in the presence of at least two competent, credible, and disinterested witnesses.
Yes, I
Welcome
lost
back, Sister
again. I'm sorry.
Mariam.
I'm back
There's
again.
no
Yes.
problem.
Oo. Yes, I am
Uh,
exciting to read this in section the next section too, but I don't know that if you read it, Sister Elinida.
yeah, I did. But you can
Oh,
read.
wow, thank
You can
you.
read. You can read
Yes,
again.
yes, because this one is exciting for our viewers. A will may be declared orally. Pwede yan, Sister Lenida, orally or in form of writing in a manner that shows clearly in intention of the state or execute in the presence of at least two components, credible and disinterested witness with a good personal or uninterested person, Sister Elinida.
Okay, thank you for that, Sister Mariam. So our dear viewers, it's very clear in Article 102 on the formalities of the will. In paragraph 1, the making of a will is strictly personal, a personal act. It cannot be left
Mm.
in whole or in part to the discretion of a third person or accomplished through the instrumentalities of an agent. And of course, Sister Mariam read again paragraph 2. A will may be declared orally or in a writing in a manner that shows clearly the intention of the testator to execute it in the presence of at least two competent, credible, and disinterested witnesses. So it's very clear. Who are these witnesses? At least two witnesses. These are competent, credible, and disinterested witnesses. What are the proof of will, Sister Mariam?
Sister Elinida, the proof of will in Article 103
Yes, please.
in Section 1, no non-cupiative, non-cup, nabululol naman ako as Sister Elinida about reading. Non-cupative will shall pass any property of the decedent unless it is proved and allowed in accordance with the solemn oath or affirmation of all witness who attested in its declaration. And in Section 2, no will of any kind holographic in formal shall pass any property unless it is proven and allowed in accordance with this code. And we
Okay,
have
thank
the
you,
here
Sister
stated
Mariam.
in we have a special ano here in the section 14 of our Republic, Sister Elinida. But in section 2, the whole description is or original post or a copy, Sister Elinida.
Yeah, Sister Mariam, let's read again this 103, the proof of will. So please take note, our dear readers, especially the Muslim brothers and sisters, this really affect us as Muslim. Of course, there are among us who have to be really I mean, uh, there are those among us who have wealth that they really need to make a will. And in Article 103, the proof of will is this, paragraph 1, the non-cupative will shall pass any property of the decedent unless it is proved and allowed in accordance with the solemn oath or affirmation of all the witnesses who attested to its declaration. While in paragraph 2 or in a paragraph 2, no will of any other kind, holographic or formal, shall pass any property unless it is proved and allowed in accordance with this code. Sister Mariam, can you please differentiate the terms holographic will and notarial will?
This one is the whole description or original scenes or copy. For example, the land title or land property that has have original copy for that, Sister Elinida. And for the non-cupative is solemnly oath or sinabi or affirmation, or for example, may sinabihan ako with the witness, Sister Elinida.
And what about this? There are this what we call holographic will. To our dear
The
viewers,
holographic is a
holographic will
formal shall
is
pass a property unless it
handwritten.
is proved, yes, and is proved and allowed in
Okay.
accordance with our code with a written, Sister Ininita, with the proof.
Without the involvement of a Sharia counselor, for example, and
Mhm.
you just write your will on, let's say, a piece of paper or uh, this is what we call holographic will or handwritten will. Of course, you have to put the date on this and you sign as the
Mhm.
testator of this holographic will, which this is done in handwriting. You have to write the date as well as affix your signature.
Mhm.
So that makes it holographic will. But when it comes to notarial will, this really requires at least three credible witnesses, and it should be
Mhm.
acknowledged before a notary public in order to ensure that it is made by the testator. What about Sister Mariam, this testamentary wakaf?
In Article 104, the testamentary wakaf, an endowment, means of endowment is a proof of evidence that something exists or true. No? An endowment or Islamic purpose to take effect after the death of the donor. Wakaf bil wasiya partakes of the nature of a testamentary disposition. Testamentary disposition is what we call that a large amount of money that was given to any organization, Sister Elinida, as far as I know.
Yeah, thank you for that clarification, Sister Mariam. So to our dear viewers, Sister Mariam mentioned about endowment. This is a large amount of money or form of property that is given or bequeathed to someone or an institution. Sister
Mm-mm.
Mariam, who has the capacity to make a will?
In Article 105, capacity to make a will, any person of sound sound and disposing mind who is not expressly prohibited by Islamic law or make a will, person of either under sex and under six and under age of puberty cannot make a will. For this
Can you please?
for this article, Sister Irinida, again, I will read it again in a clear capacity to make a will any person of sound and disposing mind and who is not expressly prohibited by Islamic law. Any make a will persons of either six under the age of puberty cannot make a will. For example, minor are not allowed or have no capacity to contract a will, Sister Elinida, unless for
Can
the
you
female,
please? Yes.
unless for the female she can reach the stage of puberty, Sister Elinida.
Of course, to our dear viewers, what we are sharing you here are our opinions, and these do not substitute any legal advice. Sister Mariam, can you please identify what are the restrictions that limit the capacity to write a will? Can you please read Article 9 of PD
Yes,
1083?
Article 9 in PD 1083, Article 9, restrictions on capacity. The following
Yes, please.
circumstances, among others, modified or limit capacity to act is age, insanity, imbecility, the state of being deaf or mute, in the condition of the death or illness, murad olmuat, penalty, prodigality, absence of family relations, alienate, insolvency, and trusteeship. The consequence of these circumstances are given
The
by the code
consequences of these
and the
circumstances.
Islamic law and the supplementary manner.
Okay, our dear viewers, I would like to read again Article
Yes,
9,
that's it.
restrictions on capacity. The following circumstances, among others, modify or limit capacity to act: age, insanity, imbecility, state of being deaf-mute, the condition of death, illness, or marad on mouth, penalty, prodigality, absence, family relations, alienates, insolvency, and trusteeship. The consequences of these circumstances are governed by this code and the other Islamic laws, and in supplementary manner by other laws. We would like to ask Sister Mariam. I hope her internet connection is okay by now. Of course, okay, Sister Mariam is still having her internet connection.
Yes.
In What about Article 106? Can you discuss Article 106, disposable third?
In 106, disposable third, the testator in his will cannot dispose or more than one third of his estate. Any bequest in excess thereof shall not be given effect unless ratified by the heirs. In any case, by the bequest must be accepted by the legate.
Any simpler term for legatee, sister?
Um, Legatee means someone who received the property, someone who capable to receive a property.
Thank you, Sister Mariam. Please continue reading Article 106, paragraph 2, sister.
Um, in paragraph 2, Sister Elinida, bequest to any sharer or residuary shall not be valid unless ratified by the testator, heirs existing at the time of his death.
What about the meaning of bequest again, Sister Mariam? And what about
Ah,
residuary?
yes, Sister Elinida. Can
Bequest, okay? Bequest is a property promised in will to be given to another after death. And residuary, For example, in dialect, Cebuano dialect, this means mga sobra or tira. Article 107 reads that shall not be given unless ratified by the heirs. And okay, Article 107. Article 107, bequest by operation of law. Should a testator die without having made a bequest in favor of any child of his son who predeceased him, or who simultaneously dies with him, such child shall be entitled to one-third of the share, and that would have pertained to the father if he were alive. The parent or spouse who is otherwise disqualified to inherit in view of Article 93, paragraph C, shall be entitled to one-third of what he or she would have received without such qualification. So, bequest by operation of law means pwede by law. And this is very important. We have to know this as Muslims, especially for those who are planning to have their will. Of course, this, yeah, Sister Mariam, what about the requisites of succession?
Yeah, I hope I am be clear now because some internet problem here. In Article 91, request of succession, no settlement of the estate is deceased person shall be affected unless in death of the decedent is ascertained and the successor is alive at the time of the death of the decedent and the successor is qualified to inherit.
Who is disqualified to succession, sister?
The death of decedent is ascertained, and the successor is alive or at the time of the death of the decedent, and the successor is not qualified to inherit. Yung sinabi ko kanina, yung ang not qualified, yung involved with some cases, Sister Lilida.
Okay, and these
Like for
are found in
example,
Article 93,
yes,
paragraph
oo.
C. Sister,
Disqualification of
by the way, Sister
successions the
Mariam,
following. Yes,
can
in Article
can
93, the disqualification of the to succession, the following shall be disqualified to succeed. Those who are situated that they cannot inherit under the Islamic law. And,
thank you, Sister Mariam. And
oo,
can a testator, Sister Mariam, revoke his will?
mm-mm,
Uh-huh.
revocation of will. In Article
Yeah.
108, Sir Elinida, will may be expressly or implied revoked by the testator at any time before his death. Any waiver or restriction of his right shall be void. So, revocation of will, ito talaga, Sister Elinida, if a dead person cannot revoke that at all because wala na, he's already dead, di ba? Whatever he stated, that is what is stated. But if after the death, there is no revocation.
And by the way, Sister Mariam, of course, this happens during the lifetime of the testator. And if
Mm-mm.
what
Yes, unless he can
revocation
justify
means,
it.
what is the term in Filipino term or language? What do we mean by revocation?
Re-
Revocation means
Walang visa.
pagpap
Revocation is no, wala nang visa.
okay,
Changing
pagpapawalan
the
ng
will
visa.
after the death of person is walang visa na. But of course, if there is a justification naman.
Yeah, thank you for that idea. So there is a justification, no? So what about could you please discuss partial invalidity of will in Article 109, sister?
In partial invalidity of will, The invalidity of will of one several provision of a will shall not result in the invalidity of the others unless it is presumed that the testator would not have been made such a provision if his first invalid provision had not been made.
And what are these examples on not legally acceptable or that provision that is not part of the will?
If the not legally acceptable, Sister Elinida, the provision that is not part of the will. If one
Like
of the
what, Sister
provision
Marian?
on the will payment to be made because of gambling or paluwagan unless yung mga sanglaan unless he make explanation of his will.
Uh-huh.
Kasi hindi
And can you
naman
cite
pwedeng
another
pamanan
example?
natin yung mga for example yung mga gambling na kinalaman dito. If we have some utang in the gambling, of course, not ang hirap kasi si Sir Linida, bakit mo pa ipamana yung mga utang?
What about Sister Mariam? If, for example, among the four wives, one is the sexiest and the youngest, and then the testator has written on his will that that woman, that wife, receives the biggest chunk of this property. Is it legally acceptable?
That based on my opinion, that is not legal acceptable kasi the law stated here, both are equal. Di ba, Sister Elenida? Pantay-pantay. Kahit mas-sexy ka, ganon, pantay-pantay ang hatian ng mga mamanahi natin. Unless siguro with some reason, like for example, if there is a cases na dito yung sinabi mo with having under medication na kailangan niya malaking part of it for his medication, at least stated by his needed talaga for his medication that is allowed. Okay, bigyan natin to ng malaki kiso, like that. Kasi with the grounds naman si Sir Lenita bakit mo siya i-belong to that hatian na fair equality, that the one is needed parang mabuhay siya. Why not giving a chance to give much bigger percent? Kasi gagamitin naman with his physical conditions like health. Sister Elenida, partial invalidity of the will, invalidity of the several provision of a will shall not result in the invalidity of the others unless it is presumed that the stator would not have made such a provision if the first invalid provision had not been made. So the example of Sister Elenida here is when one wife is favor over the rest of the wife because stated here that the other one is youngest one and existing or very lovable to among them, so he is given bigger amount. He deserve a bigger amount because he is a favorable of the husband. But in this case, we stated here yung pantay-pantay, yung fair or equally given to us, except lang pag may mga grounds that the person needed talaga, if yun, kailangan niya medication, that is a one proof that they need need here for his medical condition para i-extend buhay natin, buhay ng isa. But if in other grounds na bigyan siya kasi porket kailangan niya because to maintain his beautification or maintain niya yung mga needs niya, that is not accordance with our law. I would like also to recap the wills or wasiya. It is a declaration whereby a person is permitted with the formalities prescribed by law to control the disposition of death, not more than one third of his estate, or there are heirs, the whole of it, there are no heirs or distant kindred. And there are formalities of making the wills. For making the will strictly personal act, it cannot be left in the will in a part of the discretion of the third of a person, accomplished through instrumentally or an agent. A will may be declared or in any writing manner that show clearly the intention of the testator of the execute in the presence of at least two component credible and disinterested witness. The credible means is a good person and the disinterested is uninterested person. In making a proof of will in Article 103, this is what I recap. The non-putative will shall pass any property to the decedent unless it is proved and allowed in accordance with solemn oath or affirmation of all or any kind pornographic to our viewers, I would like to apologize for our internet connection we are experiencing now. And to our viewers, I would like to invite all to please continue watching Batas at Sharia every Sunday, 12 to 1. And our regular show is Dear Sister Khadijah every Friday, 5 to 7 p.m. with Sister Ilinida. And I would like to uh, say Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh to our Sister Khadijah, Sister Aisha, Duk Ana, and Sister Rashida. Uh, we also miss you. I hope we can see each other in in another conversation. For our viewers, thank you for watching us, and please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel, Dear Sister Khadijah, and please click the notification bell for more updates and don't forget to share. And to our Batas at Sharia lawyer, Mr. Nor Hernandez, thank you for teaching us and be always have a patient on us for sometimes we are not complying for our assignment, but thank you for understanding on us. And for those who want to ask questions, we have welcome you to send a message on us so that we can reply it or our lawyer can reply it in a proper way of informing or answering the questions that you want from us. And this topic we share is the successions and the will. And we share this topic based on our opinion and for educational purposes. This is what already we learned from our what we study, and this is suitable for proper legal advice with our lawyer also. And While waiting Sister Elinida, I would like to continue reading because I see if my connection is having a clear now. I stop it when with yes,
Assalamualaikum.
Sister Elinida.
Sorry about
Yes.
that.
You know what, Sister Elinida? I cannot leave with the show without you. I think I am be the one who disappeared this afternoon this because of my health condition,
Okay,
but
let's listen, Sister
Alhamdulillah.
Mariam.
Mhm.
So let's give an overview, or I mean,
Yes,
let's give our viewers on what have been discussed since the start of the program. So to our
yes,
viewers,
yes.
we
Go
were
ahead, Sister
talking,
Elinida.
we have been talking about succession and wheels. In succession, there is what we call a provision in our PD 1083 that gives us on what's the definition of succession, and then when are these successional rights vested. Another is that we also discuss about the differences, or Sister Mariam defined to us the term death, and she mentioned that death is the end of life of a person, of which in Muslim law of inheritance, it is of two kinds. And these two kinds again are presumptive death and presumptive the other is presumptive death. So it is when there is certainty and proof that the person had already died with a death certificate. While presumptive death is when a person is
Yes, go ahead, Sister Elinida. Okay, while wait, yes, it's coming back again. Yes, Sister Elinida. To our viewers, I would like to apologize due to our internet problem today. Uh, we wait for Sister Elinida, but me or Sister Elinida is almost gone and disappear suddenly. But thank you for being with us this afternoon. I hope we discuss it some issue the about the succession and the will this afternoon. And if you have any questions about the will that you want to left for now, we have you can send a message on us, and the seal the Attorney Nor Hernandez, we answer it in a proper uh, way of answering. just those questions that you want to arise. And but still we have still minutes until we end this time. And I hope we share it some good news and informations to our viewers. To our viewers, I would like to thank you for being with us this afternoon. And we are asking apologize for this happening, this situation. And Alhamdulillah for the greatness of Allah that we are here to continue to share what we learn from our class and what we study from our PD 1083 and some in the Civil Code of the Philippines. And with me is Sister Elinida and Attorney Nor Hernandez are willingly to give some informations that you want to. And for my classmates in West Negros College and to our friends in my um, neighborhoods, thank you for being with me, for being with us, for supporting the show. And to my husband also, thank you for watching us, even though that sometimes they late it to transmit it. I hope they can share it also to another. And I have Sister Pankay Ortiga in Saudi Arabia. She's watching now. Um, she said that she want to share it with some Filipino there in another places of this the country. And thank you for yes, and we have Abigail de Jesus Pasha. Thank you for watching, sister, and assalamu alaikum. We have now about to end this program because the internet is not good today. And alhamdulillah for this time again, Sister Elinida.
Yes, thank you for giving your time with us, brothers and sisters in Islam, as well as to our non-Muslim brothers and sisters. Of course, we hope that this has been a fruitful time with us, and we hope that you learned also what is meant by succession and wills according to what are stipulated or written in our PD 1083, and what how is it described in our Civil Code of the Philippines, and also, for example, what are these surah or ayah in our Quran that talks about will. And of course, our program is a live stream every Friday from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. We are really trying our best to give you what we have learned from our Sharia counselor, Norm Hernandez. Of course, we cannot equal with the knowledge and the expertise of our Sharia counselor, Nor, but we are trying our best to give you our opinion as much as we can, and of course, basing on the provisions on PD 1083. We hope that you also take time to read PD 1083 as Muslim. We should not take for granted these laws that govern our lives. Especially, this is not only focused on what we call marital issues and as personal laws, for example, for like this, what we have been talking about, succession and will, we must be educated so that by the time we are not here in this world, there would be smooth passing on of our wealth or whatever property that we can pass to our children or to whoever we would like to enjoy the fruit of our labor. It's good that if, for example, um, you have the time, you have the money to make a will, of course, please take time. And we have a lot of Sharia counselor that could assist you with regards to this need. Feel free to, for example, approach our Sharia counselor Noor with regards to your will. Don't, as I've said, don't take it for granted. We don't know when our life ends.
Mm-mm.
and to give at least a peace of mind to our ears or to our surviving spouse, for example, for our children, everything must be set in order, right, Sister Mariam?
Mm-mm. Yes, and
Yeah.
I would like also to share something here that why we need to make a will as early as possible because we don't know
Yes,
what
please.
happened tomorrow. Yes, Sister Linda, right? We don't know what happened tomorrow, but may we make sure, for example, as the Balik Islam, of course, we have a non-Muslim family that's sometimes they need to get our tadabbir before uh they need to get it and minsan mag-away-away sila. Before anything else, we make it a will as a state and an order before we left in this world because we don't know what happened our life tomorrow, and we need to state it before.
Of course, if in case that they don't know yet who to ask, for example, a Sharia counselor whose expertise they could ask for. For the meantime, there is what we call the type of wheel we call as the holographic. For the meantime,
Mm-hmm.
they can write on a piece of clean paper what are their wheels, diba?
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
they really need to prepare this because we cannot deny this in our even in our community, Sister Mariam. We can
Mm-hmm.
really hear the let's say grudges between relatives or among
Mm-hmm.
family
Yes.
members, and this pertains to properties or share. And it's sad to note that sometimes people would really give value more to the material things than to
Mm-hmm.
the relationship that they have with their
Mm-hmm.
brothers or sisters or their parent or their children or perhaps with their relatives. So a lot of cases, and we hope with our program, Sister Mariam, especially for the Muslim community, because we're talking here on P1083 that pertains to the Muslim group, we hope that grudges among family members, among relatives would not anymore happen because it's very clear our PD 1083 has been written, has been signed into law way back in 1977. And just imagine how many years have passed after the signing of this PD 1083. And I could remember well, it was signed February 4, 1977. From that year on up to now, there are still many among our brothers and sisters, especially Muslim, they don't know how to write a will or how they would partition their property so that there would be no more problem with regards to succession of the property.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can add something, Sister Maria. We still have time, and our internet connection has, Alhamdulillah, is working well this time.
Yes,
What about Sister
nagsasabay siya.
Abigail? Sister Abigail, maybe you would like to share with us some thoughts or ideas.
Yes, yung for example, if we are making the will, it must be put it in our notary public. It must dalhin natin into the notary public so that they can make a notification for that, 'di ba? So in case that anything will happen, at least we are have a witness to what happened, and we we stated that in our written notice, Sister Elenida, and of course with the signature and include the attorney, the public, what do you call that one? The notary, the document number, the page number, the book number, the series of like that, and they will be filled up, and parang buong-buo na talaga na I make it with the my will with the notary notification of our notary.
Thank you for discussing that, Sister Mariam. Yes, it's very good idea that you have bring that up. As long as, for example, like what I have shared a while ago, that for the meantime they can write their will on a piece of
Mhm.
paper, they must at least have signed it, of course, with their name and their signature, and by the time, for example, they would after such act or action, they can ask for a notary public for legal processes. Of course, this will be entered into their book, and that makes it public. Yes, Sister Mariam. Maybe you can share
Um,
some. Yes, please.
yes, I would like also na lang to greet of my daughter-in-law in Egypt, Shaima and Riham.
Salam alaikum.
Yes, and to their husband, Mohammed and Karim, and to our grandson, hello to baby Abdo, Selim, and Yakia, and also to
Yes,
my friend Makay Ortiga. Yes.
to our viewers who are not only in the Philippines, especially those who have access to Facebook on this Dear Sister Khadijah
Mhm.
program, kindly share this on your timeline and tag your friends, be it Muslim or non-Muslim, so that we will reach out, we'll be reaching to people. Hopefully, we can have or we can help them even in a small way with regards to what is really Piritan 83 and how this govern our life. We cannot just we should not let a day pass without reading an article from this Piritan 83. Of course, education is lifetime. If you can spend, let's say, 10 minutes reading the lives of others on Facebook, especially your connection in Facebook, why not download PD1083 or perhaps Civil Code of the Philippines? At least,
Yes.
yes, yes, Sister
If
Maria.
there is a sentence na hindi sila kaagad makaintindi, they can welcome them to us. They can send us a message to us, magtanong, and if we cannot answer it correctly, mayroon tayong attorney na siya na mag-feed up for more information. This is really
Of
Nida.
course, every day we learn, Sister
Mm-mm.
Mariam, even a small concept or one or two concept, but at least we are learning, and it's
Mm-mm.
very satisfying to know that somehow there is an additional concept or principles that we
Mm-mm.
learn or provisions that we learn from our Islamic laws. And remember, if just for example, you read one provision or article from any, for example, from PD 1083, or maybe from the Civil Code of the Philippines, just one article. Just imagine how many articles can you accumulate within 1 year.
Yes, ang dami si Sir Nida.
You can have at least 365 articles that
Oo, in
you've
just
you've
one a day
read.
lang, basahin mo lang isa-isa araw-araw, no?
Of
You
course,
need to read one article in a day. Matatapos mo yan ng buong article. Magkano? Ilang days, Sister Nida? How many articles?
In for example, in our PD 1083, let's check our PD 1083. This is up to 190
Oh,
articles.
see, ilang buwan lang yan, Sister Nida. Yes,
Okay.
190. You are correct.
Of course, to our younger generations, we encourage you to read. Really
Mm-mm.
read because you have much time. and your brain is sharp to absorb the concepts, the provisions which are written on PD 1083. And of course, if you have small gatherings, let's say two or three friends with you can discuss even,
Mm.
yeah, what you'd
Sister
like to
Elenida,
add.
I would like also to invite our viewers if they want to study paralegal uh, law, Sister Elenida. We are inviting them to please send us a message because it will be continuous. On what we are studying, it will be continuous. So for those who want to join us study paralegal, uh, I would like to invite you. Please send us a message.
Thank you for that, Sister
Mhm.
Mariam. To our dear viewers, for those, of course, there are what we call educational qualification for you to
Mm-mm.
become a
Yes, yes.
paralegal trainee.
Mm-mm.
You must be a graduate of 4-year course. You know our laws, the PD 1083, the Civil Code of the Philippines, and other related laws. These are in English. So we are really um, having these qualifications, a graduate of a 4-year
Oh,
course.
yes, paralegal training.
And of course, there are also some characteristics that are needed for one to be into this studies, this kind of studies. According to some or to many, I have even watched this over YouTube, Sister Mariam. Um, Being into this kind of study is not really easy. It needs your
Oo.
time, it needs
Yes.
your dedication, it needs discipline, it needs
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things from you. If you are, for example, a soft-hearted kind of individual and your, let's say, your lecturer is so disciplinarian and
Mm-hmm.
uh, let's say you're too emotional one time, for example, you've been reprimanded of not being prepared. Um, I guess that you have to examine or evaluate yourself if this is for you.
Mm-hmm.
But why not
Yes.
try? If you pass, for
Mm-hmm.
example, the first qualification, having this educational attainment, why not move on to the next step or to the
Level.
next?
Yes.
Yes. And what else do they need, Sister Mariam? I'm sure there are a lot of our viewers who really want to be into such studies and this paralegal
Mm-mm.
training.
Yes, yung kailangan dito yung dedication nila to accept this challenge, another challenge of their life. Na this is not easy, but as
I
time
agree.
goes by, you will try to love what you study because as time as we live in this earth, we need to study and we need to learn.
Yeah, that's true, Sister Mariam.
So your
And
time is needed here, your patience is needed here, and your effort. And for us nga hindi natin alam na ganito yung mararating natin na every day we learn. But in my business, of course, I give some times to study. Pero ang hirap talaga humabol pag na-left mo yung isang oras or isang 30 minutes na late. Ang hirap na ibalik kasi we fast study and we read it. Hindi ka pwede balikan mo. So in my part kasi sometimes no, I admitted that I am so busy and I cannot come on time. Minsan I am having late. In my experience, of course,
yes, our dear viewers, yes, please.
it's really hard for me to tackle the lateness. 30 minutes or 5 minutes na nag-uusap sila ni Sister Elenida and ni attorney. Ang hirap na i-backread, kumbaga. Ang haba na. So, if you are willing and decided it, give the full time and study. study. Mas bata, mas okay si Sister Elenida kasi kita medyo expired na. So we need to double time to study. Minsan hindi makukuha sa isa, dalawa, tatlo. So we need to study it again and again. For those who are younger than us, why not try to join us paralegal trainee? I think Sister Nor will having us set another batch for this paralegal training. And
Yeah,
imagine
inshallah. And then,
Attorney Nor is very good and have patient on us every time. And Alhamdulillah.
and of course, Sister Mariam, there is also what we call a paralegal student must have also the habit of reading
Mm-mm.
because
Sometimes nga, oo,
there are
sometimes
a lot
bulol.
of cases to read. There are a lot of cases to read. One reading is not enough. Let's say if
Mm-mm.
we have 5 or 10 pages of one case and written by somebody on similar case, another reading material is available online. If you don't have the
Mm-mm.
habit of reading, you would easily place this material on your table with just without getting something.
Yes, Sister Elinida, I would like also to ask you to say about ipamoto mo na. Yung kanina, panikita ko, you know, I'm so excited. I'm so happy to see you. Can give Sister Elinida to have repeat it, our halal TV shopping. Sister Elinida. Go ahead, Sister Elinida. Ang saya yan. I am so happy to see you.
Of course, this is I am really happy that para bang anything can happen. No, anything can happen. Of course, I'm glad that I was given opportunity by Pres Ismail, the president of this Global Pinas TV 168, this opportunity to endorse the Halal Moto Express.
Yes.
Ipahalal Moto Express mo na.
Ang saya yan, di ba?
Oh,
Okay.
but
And thank you for the
alhamdulillah,
viewers again. I would like to say something na for the viewers because we see it na. Thank you for the viewers again. Mayong hapon sa tanan sa pag-upod nyo sa amon sa another time to dear Sister Khadijah. Mayong hapon and salamat. Back to you,
salamat
sis.
po.
See you on the next episode.